We delve into the heart of what truly matters, our families. Healthy families make healthy societies. I'm Randy.
And I'm Leslie. We're diving deep into the powerful insights of Dr. Randy's groundbreaking book, The Family Legacy: Shaping Culture from the Inside Out.
Hear inspiring stories and strategies to transform your family. We'll explore topics like communication, forgiveness, healing, parenting, marriage. We'll cover it all.
We'll have provoking conversations with experts, coaches, and real-life families who are benefiting from intentional family building.
This podcast isn't just about theories, it's about tools that you can implement today.
We all come from families, so this podcast is for you.
Join us on this incredible family journey. Subscribe now as we learn to do family as God designed.
Transforming families one episode at a time. Remember, whoever wins the family wins the culture in the end. Let's go. Hello, everyone.
Hey.
Welcome to Transforming Families with Randy and Leslie. I am Leslie.
And I'm Randy.
We are continuing our segment on the mission, the momentary, intentional, specific, supportive intervention as one in a time of need.
That's pretty good. That's a lot.
That's a big acronym there. And we've talked about initially, what happens? What's the first thing that you do? And we played that video in the last segment.
Yeah, and so when there's a crisis that comes, good, bad, or ugly, there's something that
an upset in the family.
Yeah, and we talked about creating the mission blueprint. Okay, this is a time we recognize that we need to come together as a family and decide how we're going to go through this together, so that everything gets done the way it needs to be done. And we get through this loving each other and supporting each other. And most importantly, growing in the character and nature of Christ as we go through it, because this is family legacy work.
Yeah. And remember, in this world, you will have trouble.
That's
and
right.
this protocol is brilliant in that even depending on what part of the country you live in, if you live in the Midwest, you've got a plan if a tornado is blowing through.
That's right.
If you're in California, you've got a plan, automatically, because you've visited this, you've reviewed this, what to do in the event of an earthquake and what not to do.
Yep.
So it's not a matter of if your family is going to have an upset. It's a matter of when. And so this protocol was put into place on purpose for the whens.
You're talking, I just had, the thought that, our world is very uncertain and frankly, very unpredictable and dangerous right now.
It is. Sad to say, but it's true.
We could, you said it, in this world, you will have
trouble.
But fear not, I've overcome the world. So there is a way to go through crisis, a death of a loved one, a car accident, a health scare, a divorce. There's a way to go through a terrorist attack, an upset in the economy, job. Like there are a lot of ways that our lives can be taken out of the.
Yeah. And I want to say this too. So we prepare for all of these different events in life, but the difference with this protocol around the family is not so much what you do, although depending on what the crisis or the situation is, that's important. But what's really important is how. How do you walk through as a family difficult or just upsets? Could be something really good, a new baby, a new job, a new home. But how do we walk through that, demonstrating being the image bearers of Jesus and demonstrating that to our children so that when it's their turn on the clock, they also know how to show up.
Yeah, so good. And again, we're preventing deep issues from happening because this is a real vulnerable time for a family. High emotion, uncertainty. There's a lot of buttons that get pushed and things can be said or done that can hurt.
Oh my gosh. And two, this is so important. If you have little children or you're a grandparent and you've got a lot of access to your young ones, it is in those times of high emotion. And if mom and dad or whoever's leading the family is just, not that you can't demonstrate emotion, that's healthy. I'm not talking about that. But when you're so preoccupied and upset because of something that's happened and the children are not part of this process, that's when the enemy comes in and he drops a lie in their little hearts. And if the parents, the adults in the household, are not demonstrating godly wisdom,
Yeah.
and being who they are in that, that's when those, and you're not even aware of it, and the children aren't even aware of it. But that lie, it might be you're not important, or the world's not safe. And that little lie gets locked into their little hearts, and then they start going through their life, and that's the lens that they're looking through, like, oh God, the world is not a safe place. And fear takes hold. I mean, we've got a whole generation of a lot of people that are walking in fear these days.
True. Anxiety, depression.
Yeah.
So where are we? Well, we've gone through, hey, the blueprint. Let's get organized. What do we have in front of us? What does success look like? How long is it going to be? Who's going to be involved? And then we had the mission launch. So that's the specific saying, okay, who's doing what and when and all that. Today, we want to walk through a couple of other aspects of the mission. Remember, this is a momentary. There's a start and a stop time.
Yeah.
It might be 90 days. It might be more than that, but it's a season until things come to the new normal is how we describe it, whatever the new normal is. And today we want to give the mission brief tool and the mission wrap up and debrief tool. Now, any military mission have regular mission briefs, meaning at any given day or week, you come together and what's the current state? What got done? What needs to be done? What got missed? How have things changed? Like, it's a reassessing to be agile and move quickly with changing circumstances and continue to be on track with who's doing what, what's getting left and all that. So it's the mission brief, this regular meeting during the mission, and the mission wrap up and debrief, where all the learning is that we want to go through today as you get this. Now, some of you might say, man, I'm in a great place right now. I don't really need this. Well, that's fine. Good for you. And it may not be long before you find yourself there. So I encourage you to give it a listen and at least file it away. Like, okay, I know there's something
I can do in a place
that I can do. If I get in a pinch, I'm gonna pull this out and look at it. So first of all, let's join our training videos right around the mission brief. Here we go.
Welcome back. Randy and Leslie here. We're in our mission protocol. In our last video, we talked about the mission launch. And in this video, we're going to talk about the mission brief tool. We touched on it at the end. This is going to be your regular check-in with all of the people that you've gathered for this particular mission. Randy's going to read the purpose right out of the book, and we're going to jump right in.
Yeah, here we go. This is the mission brief, which is the regular briefing meeting. The third exercise in the Family Legacy Mission Protocol is the commander's stewardship of the regular brief meeting called the mission brief. This is the ongoing communication between all mission participants that keeps everyone on track and in the know. This is also the place where opportunities arise to support one another, address any balls that may have been dropped, add new tasks, comfort each other in the setbacks, and celebrate the wins. It is the regular opportunity to learn from the journey, to connect with the family members, and to be strengthened with support for what lies ahead. This really is the mechanism for doing this together.
Yeah.
You come together and cover all of that stuff, and you can do it fairly quickly, or you can take longer if that's what's required. But this is just to keep the mission on track. Where are we at? How's it going? What's missing? How are you doing? What are we learning? And so it's that really coming together, like we are going through this together.
Remember too, this is the family, right? We are creating an environment in our families that are safe and supportive and loving, where everybody is seen and heard. And there is no time like a crisis where people feel so hurt because they're not seen and they didn't have a voice in what was happening. I want you guys to keep that in mind with this protocol.
Yeah. So let's go right to the slide. And remember, this is in the book explained. This is line by line, step by step in the workbook. We just want to give you kind of the overview again and how to steward the activity and learning of the mission. So the brief is this ongoing communication, keeps everyone up to date, allows for encouragement and support. It's where you schedule the details of the briefs, the purpose and the expectation is communicated. You review and report out. This is the big piece. Review and report out. What's working, what isn't working, and what's next. This is just a very simple framework for being able to address, hey, we need some more money in that account. Hey, we got this many things, this many bills paid, but we didn't get these paid. We've got this meeting planned and they had this checkup. We have these many more to do. It's just getting everybody clear again on what's our new current state.
Yeah.
We started with a current state. Now we've been doing this a week or 2 or 3, and now what's current state week 3, and what's next? That's important, and it just keeps everybody together. Now, not only that, but what are the lessons and learnings, for ourselves? So you would go around maybe individually, or what are we going to do to apply what we're learning moving forward? And this is where legacy is being transferred. And so the learning is such an important question. And it really is, it's easy for a few people probably in your family that are the extroverts, that are the talkers, that process out loud. It's probably common for them to jump in at these things. Mm-hmm. But don't miss those who are the introverted kind, who appear quiet, but there's a lot going on underneath the surface. Make sure that you, as the commander, steward that in a way where, hey, let's hear from somebody that hasn't got a chance to share yet.
Remember, everybody gets a voice here. Everybody's heard here. This is really important.
And this, by framing it this way, what are you learning and how will you apply it? This is how to keep it from going down a complaining trail, getting focused on what's wrong or what's bad or what's broken or how you feel. So this keeps it focused and on track with what are we learning about God, ourselves, the world, and how will we apply it moving forward, and especially with that legacy connection. So what do you need now to address what you've just shared? How will you apply this? And it is powerful because it's in experience like this that we actually are discipled. We actually learn it more than a concept when we apply it in our life and reflect on it. The debrief or the reflection times are really critical.
You're teaching your kids how to do this.
So let's finish this slide out here. So then it's, really take the time also to affirm one another and acknowledge the hard work and the effort that people are making. And then, you get clear what's next for each of the members as they are, looking at the next week or the next 2 weeks before you're going to have another mission brief. What's important for you on your calendar? And then this is another piece that's important is to appoint a note taker to preserve this for generations. Talk about why it's important to have this written down.
Yeah, can you imagine? We'll be talking about this in some other protocols, but can you imagine how helpful it would be if there were a major fire or one of these events and you had a document that you could go to that your grandparents or your parents or maybe it's even current family, like this is how they went through this, and to know in advance the things to look out for, and this is how they did it, and wow, it's already been done for you. You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
This is so powerful. I mean, think if you had not only maybe one document to look at, but what if you had 2 or 3 or 4 generations worth of crises of all different kinds where your family had gone through a process like this intentionally and they had the notes from it? What could you learn generationally about how to go about these kinds of things? And wouldn't that be encouraging and affirming to see, wow, they cared enough about us. I didn't even know them maybe, but they cared enough about me and my family and our family line to give us this treasure. So I'm going to do that for my family. This is important. It's powerful when it comes to family legacy to be intentional around keeping notes, videos, documents around what we've learned, how we're applying it.
Yeah.
So that's the mission brief tool. And this is the mission protocol. Remember, whoever wins the family
wins the culture in the end.
All right, welcome back, guys. We've
Yeah.
been talking today about the Family Mission Protocol. That was the mission brief, that regular check-in. And I hope you really caught on that. The purpose of all of these protocols is to pass on the character and nature of God into our families in all different areas and times and seasons that we're equipping, we're discipling our children and our family as one. And remember too that God created us in the context of family. We talk about this a lot, but before time there was a family, and in time there's a family, and at the end of the age, when Jesus comes back, the groom for his bride, we're all going to be a family, and we're learning how to do that this side of heaven. So let's make the most of the time that we have with our families while we're here. It matters. It affects all areas of culture, because all of culture flows downstream from family.
So good. Thank you for that. We're going to go to a commercial break here in a moment. And this is how to get a hold of the work. This is one of 60 exercises that are in the book and in the workbook. We've got videos for each one of them. And this is our attempt to equip families to do family as God designed. And it starts with getting the material and having it to go through. So take a listen. Introducing the Family Digital Bundle, a powerful collection designed to transform your family's journey towards healing, growth, and thriving.
At the heart of this bundle is the best-selling book and workbook, The Family Legacy: Shaping Culture from the Inside Out, written by Dr. Randall Bixby.
With insightful wisdom and practical advice, these resources offer a roadmap for building a strong family legacy that shapes the culture of generations to come.
But that's not all. Our Family Digital Bundle includes an e-course, over 9 hours of how-to videos, equipping you with practical tools and expert guidance to help your family.
Imagine your family, a place where love, growth, and connection come together. Isn't it time to build a better family? If not now, when?
Invest in your family. Order the Family Digital Bundle today by clicking the link below, or visit our website, thefamilyreformationproject.com.
We're back. And so I encourage you to get that material and have these tools available so that you get in a crisis. Oh, I know I got a tool for that. And there's nothing like having the right tool for the job, right? For those of you. And so we're gonna move right on to the last tool in the mission protocol, which is what we call the wrap up and debrief tool. Meaning, let's say we've gone through this 90 days, the tornadoes happened, the transition in healthcare for an aging parent has happened, and we're at a place of a new normal now. And the need for this constant, mission brief and where are we at, we're at a new place. We don't need that right now. We want to make sure that in this, that there is a time to come together and put a bow on it, so to speak, where we together, we celebrate whatever we went through together. We look at the wins, we talk about what we learned, and we really want to learn then how are we going to apply this in our lives? Because remember, the other part of this, besides getting through the crisis in a healthy way, is how are we passing on the character and nature of God to our generations in a way they can pass it on, even through challenging times.
Yeah. And we're going to just play the training video on this, but remember, these debriefs are these wrap-ups. This is where the gold is in all of our work. With almost every exercise, there is a debrief afterwards. What did we learn about God, about each other, about the world? This is where the gold is. In passing on that character and nature of God. This is really when that comes to the bow, if you will.
That's right. Here we go. Hi there, Rennie and Leslie, and here we are, the last tool of the mission protocol, which is the mission wrap up and debrief tool. So you've gone through this mission, right? You've gone through the crisis. You're at the ending point, at least, to the degree that you can be. And now you're gathering everybody together. And this is where It's your last chance around this, so to speak, to as one together glean all of the gold out of the experience and do some affirmations and some celebrations and
Just tie the bow on it.
yeah, complete. It's something that really important I'm learning in life is it's important to finish well so you can start strong. And that really works in a marriage, if something's happening in a business, in a relationship, in a job change. You want to finish well so you can start strong. And same with these mission protocols, because chances are we will have another crisis. We will have another opportunity to come together as one and steward a real challenging situation. So this mission wrap up and debrief tool is a way of gleaning the most good and really connecting so that everybody that's there makes a decision. You know what? This was worth it. This was valuable. I want to do this if it comes up again, and I'm going to make sure that my kids or my family knows how to do this stuff, and it's vitally important. So let's go right to the workbook.
Mission wrap up and debrief. The final exercise in the Family Legacy Mission Protocol is the commander's stewarding of the final outcomes and debrief, along with the lessons learned, the growth experienced, and the expression of gratitude and recognition of lasting learnings in what I call the mission wrap up and debrief. The wrap up and debrief is an important exercise for the purpose of deeply implanting the lessons and takeaways from the experience into the hearts and DNA of every participant. By focusing on the outcomes, lessons, and learnings of the mission in an authentic and vulnerable way, the family is drawn together in gratitude, respect, and a sense of identity. It's the emotional implantation of the experience that remains sticky in the lives of members, especially in the children.
Yeah, and so we're going to do some of what we've been doing and add a few things, but it really is to put the bow on it, connect, come together, and let's look at the slide here. We'll just walk right through this quickly. The mission wrap up and debrief is really about, after you've achieved the outcome, what have we learned? And let's celebrate together the results of the mission. So this is where the learnings from the legacy treasures get implanted through emotional implant. And so we don't want to miss it. Here you want, again, appoint a note taker to capture for future generations. We talked about this in the last tool in detail, but having that record to pass on is a wonderful tool and gift for your generations. The commander reports on the specific results of the mission. This is how it went exactly. This is where we're at.
Yeah, this is an important piece because remember, our emotions tend to be really high. We're running pretty high during these crises. And to be able to go back and say, hey, this is what we accomplished here. We got all of the funeral arrangements done. We met with the attorneys, or we restored, the family across the street, that we got them into a shelter. The specific things that you set out to do, to restate them, it's a reaffirming of, okay, this is what we set out to do, and we accomplished it.
And it's realistic, and we want to be realistic. The mission might not turn out rosy, where everything is perfect, right? Where everything got done and everybody had a good attitude and everybody learned great lessons and everybody's warm and fuzzy. The truth is, it may not have gone that way. But this is still a time to come together and recognize where things are at. What is the current state at the end of the mission? And then it's also the time to say, what do we continue to need from God to steward what we have now? Maybe somebody got bent out of shape along the way, even in spite of our best efforts. Well, how are we going to do that? How are we going to reach out to them or engage with them or pray for them? And this is life. Everybody gets to choose in or choose out. We don't control how other people feel. We don't control whether they learn or not. We don't control that. But we just present ourselves with the opportunity. And people choose to either have the opportunity and take it or not.
Yeah, and this is important. Remember, this is in the context of creating a safe, healthy, loving, communicative environment where everybody's seen and heard. And to Randy's point, it's our job, our mission, our purpose as parents to create that environment in our homes.
Yeah.
So that our kids they see the truth of how real family is.
Yeah.
And then they get to decide if they're in or out on it. But you're coming through that knowing that you've done your best, especially in a case of a mission like this.
Yeah, so true. Let's go back to the slide. So we keep on. We have open discussion about, again, what have you learned? And this is where everybody gets to input, right? And then open discussion around what lessons apply to the family moving forward. So again, we're taking those learnings and gleaning them and applying them. And then it's time to give affirmations and acknowledgments of one another. You know, I don't know anybody that doesn't, in their heart at least, appreciate getting a attaboy or attagirl. Like, thank you, I see you. We recognize that was an effort, or that was, that was work. And we appreciate it, and it was meaningful. It's the thank you to each other.
And this is in those affirmations. We did this in the CVP tool, but this is a time to pull out the character qualities of God that you saw in your family members or, the community that you're working with. Like, wow, you showed up with such courage, or your compassion was so beautiful. Like it's the character, this is the legacy piece. This is what it is the attaboys, but it's to seal in those character qualities of God in us and in our families.
Yeah, I appreciated that you were so peaceful. You just seemed confident, like you were unflappable, and all this crazy happened. You were just like, okay, well, let's ask the Lord how to do this, and let's do it. It's just beautiful, right? And again, it's modeling, it's discipling, and it matters. And let's just finish this out here. The commander, has a few closing statements and prays, maybe invites people to pray. And stewarding the crisis times of life together as a family is rich in legacy. So don't miss this. I want you to think for a moment. Imagine that a crisis came up, and for your family, it was a big crisis, and you didn't do anything that we've talked about. Everybody just kind of wondered who's doing what, why. We take sides, we push through, things get missed, things get overlooked. There's just a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. It just gets sloppy. Our feelings get hurt. We blame. This is what happens to people, right, that aren't intentionally governing their character. They start blaming people. They start feeling like a victim. They start maybe blaming themselves or God. There's all kinds of lies that come in, and all kinds of strongholds that are built. And the mess and the trauma that creates for generations and ongoing, that's a heavy price. I mean, some people I know, you say, I don't know, man, that's a lot of work. Like, that seems like a lot to do. Let me tell you what, it's a lot of work to clean up the mess if you don't approach it this way. And that's not a threat. That's a true observation from experience. And so this is the mission protocol, the momentary, intentional, specific, and supportive intervention as one in time of need. We encourage you to get this prepared, have it, get familiar with it, so that when the time comes, you're ready to take action.
Remember, whoever wins the family
wins the culture in the end. And there we go. And that is the mission protocol and the mission debrief, wrap up and debrief tool. And we hope that this has encouraged you. I felt that actually at the end there, as that example was given. Imagine if you didn't do any of this and you got a mess. And I've just seen too much of that. And I don't want that. Not for my kids, not for my parents, not for my family. And I can do something about that, actually. And I hope you will as well. Any last words?
Remember.
Oh. Remember.
Just remember, whoever wins the family wins the culture in the end. We'll see you next time, guys.
See you next time. That wraps up another inspiring episode of Transforming Families with Randy and Leslie. We hope that today's conversation has left you feeling empowered and equipped to take action.
Remember, transforming families begins with transforming ourselves. Let's be intentional, loving, and persevere. You're not alone. We're right here with you.
We believe Proverbs 24:3. Wise people are builders. They build families, businesses, and communities. Through intelligence and insight, their enterprises are established and endure.
Thanks for joining us today. We encourage you to stay connected with us on social media, join our email list, and learn more about our resources and classes at the Family School by visiting thefamilyreformationproject.com.
Remember to subscribe, share with your loved ones, and spread the word about transforming families. We'll see you on our next episode. And remember, whoever wins the family wins the culture in the end.